Alright, everybody knows the Glock. Standard Glock, taking it apart. I've polished everything in this gun, so it has some aftermarket parts. Recoil. To take it apart, you're gonna need a few things. You might need an armor block. I made this one out of a hockey puck. You can use, I got some that's a piece of wood. You can use anything. A tray for parts. There will be a lot of springs and parts and whatnot. We don't need the mag, so we'll set it to the side. I always have a pick and a flathead when I take a gun apart. And I use a Glock tool on every kind of gun, so. Recoil out, barrel comes out. That's an agency arms barrel. I have an agency arms barrel and everything. Alright, we're gonna do the slide first. If you look inside there, there's a little plastic piece. You have to push it down. Push it, hold it down, and then you can slide the back plate off. But keep your thumb there when you release the pressure off of that. There is a spring that can pop out on the firing pin. And you have a little one there. Alright, there's your firing pin spring. We're going to take the cup off and everything. Let's finish getting this apart. This little spring just pulls out, but there can be tension when you take the back plate off. So when you slide it off, you keep your thumb there so nothing shoots out. Glocks are one of the simplest to take apart, so that just spring pulls off if you want to take it off. There's really no need to. Alright, now we're gonna get the extractor out. You got your safety plunger, and there's a spring on here. So you can depress it, and your extractor will fall out. And see how that flew out? You have to let this out real easy. That spring can fly. So that's it for the slide. Unless you wanted to take the sights off, which there's really no reason to at this point, but you have to have a front sight tool to get in there, and then a rear sight tool to slide it off. Alright, so the slide's done. The frame, this frame has 2 pins. Most of your Glocks have 3 pins. Let's see. Gen 3s have 3 pins. The Glock 43 has 2 pins. The 43 and the 43X frames are the same. So that the Gen 4s have 2 pins too. You'll find some with 3, some with 4. This one is a Gen 4. It has 3 pins. This is a Gen 5. It has 2 pins. But they're still all basically the same. There's not a whole lot of difference. You don't need a punch or anything for a Glock. They will push out easy. That's your rear pin. Your front pin, if you push on it, it's hard. If you take a screwdriver right down in here on your slide lock release, if you take and you push it down right there, as you push the pin, it'll come out easy. It'll be hard to show on camera, but you don't have to push it hard. Just put pressure on it as you push the pin. You need 5 hands. Alright, let's get this. So I'm going to put pressure there. It's hard to do it and stay on camera. I'm just going to use my hand. It's easier. Well, I thought it was. There we go. And it pushes out. The reason you're holding the pressure on there, you can see the notches on the pin. That's where stuff sits and it holds it in place. Right there and right there. That's why you have to hold pressure down on the slide lock release. And now your locking block, it'll just pop out, slides right up. And see right here, your slide lock release is different than on a Gen 3, or the 43 and the 43X have it with a spring here. The older models just have a piece of wire that comes up, and that is the spring. This is an aftermarket extended with a little knob, but still the same thing. From there you can pull your trigger assembly out. This is an aftermarket trigger. It's a CMC trigger. I like this trigger a lot. It's great. You have to kind of turn it at an angle and pull out. And it comes right out. The crucifix hooks right in there on that and then sits up here. This is your trigger. This is I don't know if I changed this or not. Let me see. Yeah, this is a minus trigger bar. It's got a little minus symbol right there. It come in the kit with the CMC trigger. And if it helps you, you can set your parts out the way you take them out. You don't have to just throw them all in a pile. But that's how I've always done it. So this is easy to take off, but it can be a pain. The easiest way is to take your barrel, take this part, slide it in there like that, put it on a flat surface, and then take the pressure off the spring, and your cups will just pull off. And then you have to release the spring real easy, and then it will pull off. And then there's your cups. I'll show you. It's just little plastic pieces. You can get a maritime spring cup. It's got notches cut in it, and it's for if there's water in the gun, it will be able to shoot through the water. If this had to go through the water, it's a flat surface, so it would slow it down. See if I think that's how it sits. And the maritime has gashes cut in it. I got it on one of them. I don't know which one right now. And then you're left with this. It just slides off the front. And there's your firing pin, striker, whatever you want to call it. I polished it too. I polish everything. Now the frame is almost empty. This is obviously under spring tension. So if we look down in there, I don't ever take them out, so you want to hold it down and kind of slide it out. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. There's going to be a spring there, so hold your finger there while you're taking it out. Alright, you see that little spring? And here's this. This has a gash. I'll show you. Let's see if we can get that spring out of there. There it is. Don't lose that. So you have to hold your hand over that while you push it down and slide it out. It can go either way. This has a gash on one side. The other side is smooth. This side has a lip. And that lip is for it catches on there like that. So the lip has to be facing the back so it catches. And I'll show you that when we go back together. We can throw that back in the pile. Now the only thing left is your magazine release, and you have to get it with the pick. I don't know how easy that's gonna be to show. Alright, if you look down in there, there's a little spring and a little gap that you can get it from. It's gonna be hard to show on camera. Alright, now we pop the spring over it. See that bar in there? Right there. We got it sitting on top. So now it's gonna come out from the opposite side. And we're gonna have to angle it to get it over that bar. You might have to stick your pick in there. Pry it up. I know this isn't on camera good, but if this is something you're doing and you can't get it, I can help. I can do a more lit point of that. And there it is. It's aggravating. See, I gotta get more light to shine down in there. You can see the metal rod right there. That metal rod right there. And this goes in like that. And there's the groove that it fits in. And when you put it back in, you have to slide it over into that groove. And I'll try to show it better when we do that. But that's it for the frame itself there. And now we have the trigger assembly. You got this piece in here. And if you look on the end, you can tell that this, if you turn it, it'll pull straight off. So what you want to do here is get that up so we can turn it. I'm just gonna pick it up and turn it, and that'll release the spring tension. And there's the slot it fits in. And then this here, it's a spring, so you have to be careful too. If you put something on it and push it, you can see it coming out the back here. See it right there? And this is a track. Once it sticks up, you gotta push it to come out the top right there. And then it'll come right out. And then that's it. Then that's completely apart. But I'll show you that little notch, the way it was sitting in there. You see how that's got that? And then that, so it slides on like this, and then it turns, and that's what holds it in there. And it's under spring tension too, so It makes it even harder. So the spring goes on. And then this will slide down on it and turn. And that's what holds it. Alright, so this gun's filthy. Everything is dirty. I'm gonna do a video on the polishing too. It's really overkill on the polish. I just like the way it looks. So I'm gonna clean it and then I'll be back after I clean it. Now it's clean. So now we gotta put it back together. We're gonna start with the slide. First we're gonna put in the extractor. You're gonna need the extractor, the safety plunger, and the spring. The safety plunger can only go in one way. If you look at the hole, you can see it's kind of oblong shaped, and so is this. Make sure that spring stays straight when it's going in. Holding it sideways is a good way to do it. And it's got to go in this way. Let me show you. Alright. So the flat part there is on top. It goes out like that. The spring is still straight. And you push it in. And you can see how it comes to that opening. So now we're going to take the extractor. That ball piece on the back right there goes in the back like this. You have to push the plunger in and drop it in. It'll sit flush. Release the plunger slowly and it holds it in. Now we're going to put its spring in this hole, this small hole. And that's this piece. The spring with the black detent goes to the back. And that's it. Now we'll set that down for a second. We'll get the striker. Your black plastic piece goes on like that. Remember the barrel trick? And we'll get the spring and the safety cup. But when you put the spring on, you see the end of the spring there? You don't want the end of the spring sitting where the two cups connect like that right there. It'll end up splitting them. You want the cups to sit. Let's see if I can get closer. You want the cup to sit like that anyway, except for the end of the spring being on the end of the cups like that. You don't want that. You want it like that. So now I got it in. I'm gonna put it on, pull it down, put one side on. They go on pretty easy. See, sometimes you'll have to do it, hold it tight. If you let go, it's gonna shoot those cups. They're called spring cups. They're easy to get. See, they fell off. Make sure you're ready when you hold it down. It's a little tight and you don't want to slip and let go because it will shoot. And then release it real slow. And then it's on. And the end of the spring is right there. And the cups join right there. So it is kind of close to it. The cups join right there and the end's there. So I'm gonna turn it a little bit. Alright. So my cups join. Let me get a pick. my cups join right there, and the end of my spring is right there. So as long as the end of my spring right there isn't where the cups join, we're good. Alright, it's ready to go into the slide. We'll slide it in like that, push it in, and you see how we still got a little bit sticking out there? We'll take the back plate, set it on there like that, set it down. Now you gotta hold this plastic piece down, get it over that. Make sure when you push it down you got it held good, because if you slip it'll fly too. Now our extractor spring here is holding us up, so now we gotta press it in. And see, that could have shot, luckily it didn't. Get it started, it's over it, and you'll hear it click. And then try to push it off. Make sure that plastic cup that we push down sits in a little groove cut in the back plate, and that's what holds it. Now the slide, we'll just do the barrel, the recoil spring, and the slide's done. So now we'll go to the body. Well, before we do that, let's put some stuff together. Remember, we took this apart. So we got this. I'm gonna take this back apart like that. Well, now I'm gonna leave it together to do it. You can do it either way you want. It's easier to put this back together. Okay, and you see our track back here? You see that's the same shape. We gotta put it in. It's gotta come in through the top. Push it out so it'll slide down the track, and then it rests in the bottom. I'll try to do it on camera. Right. I'm gonna have to get my screwdriver. Use whatever you can to fit in there. You gotta get a firm grip on it. Make sure it's lined up. Alright, see how it pokes out? Now we're gonna push it down, and then it rests in its spot down there. And your angle here has to be at the back. If you were to flip it over and it's facing down, that's wrong. Remember, your crucifix on your trigger has to sit in there like that. But we gotta put the minus bar on. And there's just a little cutout here the back slides into. Get it in, push it till it's flat, and it's gonna stick out like this. See how it comes out at an angle like that? That's because it's a spring. That's your trigger. That's how you give or take away the weight of the trigger pull, some of it. So now we got to put the trigger in here. See, a regular Glock, the bigger one's got a bar that comes off the back, and it's got a spring that hooks on back here in a hole. Now this, you have to get it in there. Get it. See, it's not hooked on. So I got to take it back. Try to hook it on like that. Get it in the back groove, and then it hooks right under there. And you see we got it under this piece, and we got it in this slot right there, and we got it under there. When you pull the trigger, it pops off there. That's the trigger. That's how it works. Let's see, I pulled it out. Everything's shining. I polish everything on Glocks. It takes the grittiness out of the trigger. I don't really have to polish this. I do. The main thing you want to polish is everything that's touching. But I like it to look a certain way, so that's it for that. Oh yeah, the aggravating safety. Let's do that. So remember, it had to come out from the opposite side. It's ambidextrous, so we're gonna do right-handed. So the knurled side goes to my right side. And that little metal bar in there, I can't get enough light to show you that. I wish I could. I'll do another video showing just that. It's in there. You can see it right there. This has to go in on this side of it. So this side we gotta get in. It's aggravating. Oh, it's very aggravating. It can give you a hard time or it can go easy. I'm gonna pull the bar out so I can get it over the mag release. I think I called this a safety a while ago. You have to be careful not to pry and pull, and there we go. Alright, I got it sitting on it now. So I'm gonna push it on in. And now I got to stick this in here and slide that bar over this way into a groove. You'll see the groove. You might have to do it from the top, the bottom, whatever is more comfortable for you. Let me use my angled pick so I can see what I'm doing. I know this isn't on camera, I'm sorry. Alright, you can hear it pop in. We got spring tension. That bar is the spring. See it angled right there? Take my finger out of it so you can see. And it's in the groove. I'll get some more light to show you. Alright, now our spring here goes straight down. It's a little round hole. See the little round cutout? It's gonna sit straight like that. And we're gonna start this. The notch goes to the back. This side's got a notch, this side doesn't. So we'll start it, stick it in. That's what she said. And now we're gonna take something, hold the spring down. And again, you have to be careful with the spring, don't slip. Make sure you got a good grip when you go. And then you get it to go, it clicks in. Test it, it's got spring tension. My notch is at the back, the front is smooth. And that's good to go. Alright, now we're going to take our trigger assembly. It fits in easier if you go ahead and get it to catch on this lip right here. Stick your trigger in. Stick your assembly in. It all just falls in. Glocks are real easy. My holes lined up here. See? It's a clear hole. We can go ahead and put the pin in there. You don't need a punch, you don't need anything. Just stick it in. I like to take the tool, hold it sideways, push it all the way till it's flush like that. That means it's going to be flush on both sides. If I put it like that, I'll go too deep, which don't matter. You can get it where you want. You just want it, do not want it sticking out. It'll interfere with your hand when you got your grip. So now we have to take our locking block. Well, no. Let's take our slide lock release. And you see this little opening on the left side of the trigger? That's where the spring part's gonna fit. And it sits in this notch. So if you can't figure it out, just set it in that notch like that, and then come down here and it'll go into place. It falls in and sits like that. Then our locking block is going to go in this gap and that gap. It goes like this. Glocks are one of the easiest guns to take apart. You see our holes got some blockage. Remember, we had to push down on this to get the pin out to begin with. We'll come in from the right side. When you take it out, you want to take it out from the left side. I didn't tell you that. You take it out from the left side because then you only got one groove you got to get over. If you come out from the left side, you got to get over two grooves. You have to get over that groove and then that groove. So take it out from the right, put it in from the left. It'll go either way, but it's easier. Alright, you see we got a little bit of, it won't go. We're going to push down on the slide lock release a little bit. Slides in. And then if you just push it a little bit, you'll hear it click. Hear it? And you see it's hard to push now. That means it's in the grooves on the slide lock release. Check it, make sure you got spring tension, and we're good to go. Your trigger, this is your trigger bar. You push it forward. Everything works, and that's it. I'll oil it later, but you want to oil where it's in your slide. I oil right there where my trigger touches. I oil the rails a little bit, and that's it. A Glock doesn't need much oil. I got a Glock I got more than 8,000 rounds through over there. I've never cleaned it, anything. My 17, this gun will go and go and go. That's the best thing about a Glock. It will run. Dirty, clean, it does not matter. You might get some resistance right there, and you have to kind of turn it a little bit to get it over everything, but then get it on, pull it back. Trigger feels good. Reset. The CMC trigger is nice. I don't like the way it looks. It looks like shit, but I don't like the groove on the bottom, but that's all the travel till you hit the wall. The brake is good, and I love the loud audible reset. Yeah, the 43X.